One of the things I love the most about doing little that I know is that it's the perfect gig for a guy with an eternally curious mind. Sometimes the story ideas come from viewers or doing research, and yet sometimes one just pops out of thin air.
John Deere was born on this day in 1804. Did you know he didn't even know what a tractor was?
Wait, John Deere? The tractor guy? Never saw a tractor?
And he wasn't even a farmer by trade.
Wow, thanks radio that John Deere never lived to see either.
You're welcome.
John Deere was born in 1804 in Rutland, Vermont. At 17, he apprenticed himself as a blacksmith, not a farmer. In fact, he became quite well known for his quality of work, but getting work in Vermont soon became scarce.
So good old John Deere headed out west, almost 1,000 miles west to Grand Detour, Illinois.
He once again built a large reputation as a blacksmith until one day he noticed a problem that local farmers were having. The plows they were using were made of cast iron or wood, which were perfectly good for soil back east.
But the soil in the Midwest was a lot stickier than it was back east, making plowing a slow and exhausting process.
John figured that if they could get a smooth, polished surface, it would help cut the soil away from the blade and make plowing much easier. And he was right. However, instead of using cast iron like what was common, John looked around with a blacksmith's eye and found an old broken saw blade, hammered it into shape, and polished it to a mirror shine.
Pretty soon, the soil in Grand Detour, Illinois began falling off, and John Deere began moving up. So in 1837, his self-scouring steel plow was born.
By 1841, Deere was producing 100 plows a year. By 1848, the demand got big enough that he moved the operation to Moline, Illinois to take advantage of access to the Mississippi River for shipping and an abundance of water power for manufacturing. And by the time John Deere passed away in 1886, his company was producing thousands of plows each year.
But little did I know, he actually passed away about 20 years before the first gas-powered tractors came to market.
So a company that made an estimated $21 billion in revenue from tractors alone in 2024 was named after a man who never even knew what a tractor was.
And in fact, the John Deere company didn't even invent the tractor. They acquired a company that was already making them.
In 1918, the company purchased Waterloo Gasoline Engine Company, who were making the Waterloo Boy tractor. The first tractor under the John Deere name was the John Deere Model D, released in 1923.
Oh, and one final thing you may not know, John Deere himself was actually quite an innovator when it came to branding. He created a logo that's quite recognizable today, with a lone deer and what John Diffie, country singer, once called John Deere green background.
But the original John Deere logo from 1876, the one that literally launched millions of tractors he never saw, had a deer with a serene country background.
And to think, it all started with a broken saw blade and a guy just trying to cut it in Illinois.
Okay, that was bad.
I know.
For Central Oregon Daily News, you're Scott Elness.
I know that too.